So, scientists and space fans are getting a bit worried about Pluto possibly bumping into Neptune. Big names like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku are also talking about it. What's got Pluto on this collision course, and could it mess with us here on Earth? Pluto used to be a regular planet, but got downgraded to a dwarf planet because of its weird orbit. Still, folks who love space are interested. Now, some experts are saying Pluto and Neptune's paths are getting a little too close. They're warning that these two could crash, which might be a problem for Earth. Pluto takes about 248 Earth years to go around the Sun. Since we found it in 1930, it hasn't even made one full trip yet. Its orbit is super oval-shaped compared to the other planets. Plus, it's tilted at a steep angle. The weird thing is that Pluto's path crosses Neptune's. For about 20 years every orbit, Pluto's actually closer to the Sun than Neptune. So, why haven't they smashed into each other yet? Well, the other planets are pulling on them. Pluto's orbit was a puzzle for a while. Unlike most planets, it's all tilted and oval-shaped. It gets even weirder when you realize Pluto's path crosses Neptune's. But don't freak out. Pluto's orbit is stable because of gravity, which is complicated. It's like trying to figure out how three heavy things move around each other and pull on each other. Pluto, Neptune, and the Sun are doing this crazy dance. Scientists say that because of this dance, when Pluto crosses Neptune's path, they're always far enough apart that they won't hit. And Pluto is always way above or below Neptune's path when they get close. It might look wild, but Pluto's orbit is pretty steady. Back in the 80s, people ran simulations that showed even if you changed Pluto's starting point a little, it wouldn't go flying off. Things are stable, even though they look crazy. We've learned a lot by using computers to see how the big boys like Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune mess with Pluto's path. Pluto and Neptune have this weird timing thing going on. For every 2 laps Pluto makes, Neptune does 3. Jupiter's also a big help, keeping things steady. Saturn kicks in too, but not as much. All these planets working together keep Pluto on a safe route. If they didn't, things could get wild, planets could crash, or stuff could get thrown out of the solar system. Understanding Pluto's orbit is important because people worry it might hit Neptune eventually. Knowing how it all works helps us understand how the solar system moves. Pluto shows that even a weird orbit can be steady if gravity is just right. We've got to keep watching and learning to get a better handle on things. Space can be weird, and Pluto's orbit is a good example. The idea of orbital chaos shows how a planet's path can change a lot if it starts off with a slightly different push. Even small changes can send Pluto on a whole new route. Computer models are cool because scientists can play around with them and see how little tweaks can make a big difference. Studies from the 80s showed that Pluto's orbit is reliable, but still a little unpredictable. Change something tiny, and it could end up somewhere totally different millions of years down the road. But even so, Pluto's path has been steady for billions of years. There's a pattern to the craziness. When you're trying to guess what'll happen with planets like Pluto that have weird orbits, it's tough to predict far ahead. Good models can guess, but they also show us what we can't know for sure. These models need perfect starting information, and it's hard to copy how things pull on each other. Even a small mistake can throw things way off. The fact that things like Pluto's orbit are a bit wild reminds us that the universe is always changing. We've learned a lot, but Pluto shows there's way more to learn. The space between stars and planets is huge, so crashes aren't normal. Planets without a star aren't as common as planets with stars. That makes crashes super rare. Figuring out how the gas giants mess with Pluto's orbit helps us understand how the solar system moves. Every planet's size and spot changes things for the others. Tyson keeps warning folks about Pluto maybe hitting Neptune. So what's up with that? Neil deGrasse Tyson has a way of looking at our solar system, especially Pluto. He thinks Pluto's change shows how we're always learning new things. He thinks space exploration is cool because there are so many things we don't know. Tyson likes that space things grab people's attention. He uses things like Pluto's weird orbit to get people interested in space. He wants folks to learn more about it. Tyson worries that Pluto's movement could be dangerous. He's worried that Pluto might hit Neptune after all. He thinks it could mess up the solar system's balance and screw things up on Earth. A crash like that would be huge. It would send out a lot of energy and could smash Pluto because it's small and icy. The trash from the smash could fly all over, risky for other planets. Neptune might even change its orbit or atmosphere. Miyokaku connects studying planets to big questions in science. He sees Pluto's orbit as something we can use to learn about future space trips. Knowing how planets like Pluto and Neptune pull on each other could help us plan trips. This stuff could help us travel and see possible problems. Kaku also says that we can use Pluto's orbit to learn about other stuff in space and get to far parts of the cosmos. Kaku talks about how the way planets move is tied to big science ideas. He thinks that the crazy gravity stuff between Pluto and Neptune shows how the universe works at its heart. Kaku's work tries to get to these rules. He thinks exploring how planets move can show us deeper things. Like Tyson, Kaku has also talked about what could happen if Pluto hit Neptune. He thinks it would be an important thing to see as observers, could help with string theory. String theory says particles are tiny strings tries to unite all things in science. A big crash out there could make crazy conditions and let us see how things act under them, important for seeing how spacetime acts, which is what string theory models, waves it released, could give good stuff for testing ideas. A crash like that would be an event that we as observers would be able to measure and maybe test concepts like string theory. Earth would probably be okay because it's far away, but understanding basic things would be advanced. Pluto's orbit is an all-right show of space motion, both stable and not. It shows how space is structured. Many mysteries are to the celestial bodies and universe, other problems are in the minds of scientists. Planetary crashes are rare, however things may happen, so scientists watch for forces, particularly gravitational and compact systems. Force can produce change, however the planet TRAPPIST is now stable. Astronomers watch it to study action, especially under stress. This study improves understanding. Planets flung wander space ejected, creating change. Planets wander space and enter systems, minute that it collides with planets in system. Rare, because of space distance. Investigating gas orbit, planet relationship may impact. Motion of body in our solar bodies, mass and position is altered, all mass, gravity actions. Even if planets are involved, may top planetary scientists see force is the top, not just stability. Better computer models have helped us with how big planets like Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune affect Pluto. Pluto and Neptune have a special connection. For every 2 trips Pluto makes, Neptune makes 3. Also, Jupiter's strong gravity helps keep things steady. Even Saturn helps a little. Simulations have confirmed that these planets work together to keep Pluto's path safe and predictable. Without all of that, the solar system would be much more chaotic, and planets might crash or get thrown out of the system. Understanding Pluto's path is super important because of the worries of the crash. It gives us a better understanding of how the solar system works. Pluto shows us that orbits can seem unstable but still be okay because of gravity. We need to keep studying all of this to learn more about space. When we check out space, we see a lot of weird things, and Pluto's path is one of them. Orbital chaos means that a planet's path can change a lot depending on its starting speed and spot. Even small changes can mess up Pluto's path in the long run. Computer models help scientists see how small differences can turn into big changes. Studies from the 80s showed that even though things like asynchronous and nodal vibration help keep Pluto steady, its path can still be unpredictable. A tiny change in Pluto's starting point can send it on a totally different route over millions of years. But still, Pluto's route has been pretty steady for billions of years. This means that even though it looks weird, there's a hidden order to it. It's hard to guess what will happen with planets like Pluto because their paths are so weird. Scientists are using computer models to guess future paths, but there's only so much we can know. These models depend on exact starting data and being able to guess complicated interactions. If even one thing is a little off, the predictions can be way off. The crazy nature of orbits like Pluto's reminds us that the universe is always changing. We've learned a lot about space stuff, but Pluto shows us how much more there is to learn. Planets don't often crash because space is so big. Also, planets that aren't attached to any stars are pretty rare. Looking at how gas giants affect Pluto's path helps us learn about our solar system. Each planet's size and location changes how the other planets move. But even with all these things, some scientists are still warning about a Pluto-Neptune crash. So why are these worries popping up now? Neil deGrasse Tyson has some thoughts on our solar system and Pluto. Tyson, who famously agreed with Pluto being called a dwarf planet, says that our understanding of orbits is always growing. To him, Pluto's change isn't a bad thing, but it shows how much space knowledge changes. He thinks Pluto's weird orbit is a cool example of how much we still need to learn. He also knows that big space events get people excited about space. He sees things like Pluto's weird orbit as chances to get people interested in space. By talking about the wild parts of space, Tyson hopes to get more people interested in space science. Tyson also warns people about the dangers of Pluto's crazy movement. After doing a lot of research, he's worried that the three-body problem may cause a crash with Neptune. He also says it could mess up the gravity balance in the solar system, which could even affect Earth. A crash this big would be new, create tons of energy, and possibly break Pluto apart. The broken pieces could spread around the solar system and be dangerous to other planets. Depending on how it happens, the crash could even change Neptune's path or atmosphere. Michio Kaku is also good at explaining science. Kaku says that studying planet movement can help us with big questions in physics. He sees Pluto's orbit as a look into the future of space exploration. He thinks that learning how Pluto and Neptune affect each other could help us plan future missions. This knowledge could help us travel through the solar system and avoid possible dangers. Kaku also says that what we learn from Pluto can help us study other stuff in space. When talking about planets, Kaku says that orbits and physics are connected. He thinks that gravity interactions are examples of the universe's rules. Kaku's research tries to explain these rules. He says that looking at Pluto can show us deeper truths about how the universe is built. Like Tyson, Kaku has also talked about what a Pluto-Neptune crash could mean. He thinks it would be a big deal for space watchers and could help out string theory. String theory tries to connect all forces and matter in the universe. A huge crash in the solar system could create crazy gravity and energy, which would let us see how stuff acts under those conditions. The gravity waves from the crash could give us helpful information for testing string theory ideas. Even if Earth is far away and wouldn't be hurt by the crash, the science from it could be awesome. It could help us learn more about fundamental forces in matter. Pluto's orbit is a cool example of space movement, showing both stability and chaos. Its weird path, changed by the gravity of planets like Neptune, shows how complex space is. The universe has tons of secrets, and the three-body problem is just one of them. While planetary crashes aren't likely, they're not impossible. How planets' paths are changed by forces like gravity is shown by the three-body issue. In crowded systems like TRAPPIST-1, gravity interactions can create patterns. These patterns may mess up orbits, which could cause crashes. TRAPPIST-1 is pretty stable right now, but scientists are watching closely to see how the planets interact. This research helps us learn more about how orbits change. Rogue planets can also show up and cause issues because they have been kicked out of their home star systems. These planets can travel through space and possibly run into other star systems. If a rogue planet comes into our solar system, there's a small chance it could crash into a planet. But because space is so big, it's not very likely.